Kill Bill 3 could happen, according to Quentin Tarantino. That coming up next on MBE Movie News.
And Stephen, this is coming in from the man himself via Deadline, I believe, Slash Film, and a whole host of other people, perhaps.
Big news.
It's Slash Film we're reading off of anyway. And basically, he has admitted that he's had a conversation with Uma Thurman about perhaps stepping back into the familiar territory of Kill Bill. There's been various discussions about this, Stephen, this potential sequel to the sequel, potential storylines, and I'll let you get into it because I know it's one of your favourite scenes from Kill Bill in general. Just the fact that this particular scene that I'm speaking about could be the one that conjures up another sequel. But what do you make of this? Is this something you want to see? We've obviously spoke a couple of weeks back, I believe now, about Tarantino hanging up his, was it a clabber stick or whatever they call it, for good after his 10th movie. There was talk it would be Star Trek, but then he started to backtrack. What's your thoughts? Is this something you'd be happy to see? And do you think he will indeed hang up his directorial sort of
That's another question, John, but a better question. If he's sticking to 10 films, I do not want to see Kill Bill 3, and I do not want to see a Star Trek film directed by Quentin Tarantino. I want to see something original. I do not believe he's going to stick to the 10, if I'm being honest with you. There's no rule saying that he has to. He's setting himself boundaries here that he doesn't have to set. You're making it hard for yourself, Quentin. I think he's starting to backtrack here a little, if I'm being honest with you, John. I do want to see a Kill Bill 3 if he's forgetting about this, complete 10 box set thing. And it's all based on that scene from, I think the girl's name is Nikki. I think the child.
I will have a little dive down and see.
Volume 1, I think it was. Ever since that film came out, John, there's been talk of this. It's quite an obvious scene, and it's when you knew there was going to be a Volume 1 and Volume 2 getting shot back to back, that did raise questions whether or not Volume 2 would fast forward on to her adult life, which it didn't do. Once that film was released, Volume 2 that is, we knew that wasn't the case, and then that's when the questions started. Is there going to be a Volume 3 set, maybe a decade from then? That time has came and went, as we know, but it always lingered on in the background. There was talk a few years ago that he was thinking about it again, and it's come up again. This time, Uma Thurman's involved. He has been chatting to her about this. I don't
last
know.
Week, apparently.
And I don't know where they're going to take it, if it's going to be based on that character, the little girl. She's all grown up now. She's going to seek revenge, so the tables have turned. I can't remember her name, Beatrix or something. Beatrice, I can't remember her name. The bride. Her role's going to be reversed. She's going to be playing sort of Bill role this time, with the Nikki character seeking revenge on her, hunting her out. So it's a very interesting story.
Stephen, I have to agree with you once again. I usually do.
Yeah.
If I had my personal choice,
Beatrix Kiddo, that was it. Yeah.
If Tarantino is indeed sticking to this very stuffy 10 movie career that he has mapped out, then I don't want to see him going out with an unoriginal sort of a plot or idea of film. I want him to come up with something unique, because this is what's really been a hallmark of the man's career throughout his whole directing tenureship. He's usually utilised interesting and unique stories. It's been completely original ideas. He's utilised various different time periods and time jumps and different perspectives within the movies, and I want to see him continuing that on. But as you did say, if he maybe listens to what he said last week instead of 2 weeks back and backtracks and decides perhaps, if I do Star Trek, then it doesn't count, I'll go and do another movie, because that's what he said.
Yeah, and he might actually consider Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2 as one film as well.
Yeah, and that doesn't count as well then. So if he's going to start creating loopholes within his own idea of his own retirement plan, if you like, then I'm quite happy to see him going and doing Kill Bill 3, because I would love to see another Kill Bill movie, Stephen. I think they're just fantastic. The way that he's brought the two together, literally you can watch the two combined, and it's just a beautiful story the way it weaves. And I really like that idea. I think it was way back in 2004 actually, he was speaking about the potential Nikki character growing up and it being all buffed out of that great sequence where her and obviously Beatrix and her mother are having, I think it's a cup of coffee or tea or whatever. She comes home from school and then she says, look, I'm sorry about this kid, you'll get your revenge one day or something like that. The fact that it could be buffed out of that, we could have a whole standalone story. And I think that'd just be poetically beautiful.
Yeah.
If it'd all come full circle. Beatrix, as you did say, goes from being the hunter, wronged on a revenge mission, to being the hunted. And it'd be amazing to see her perhaps dying at the hands of that. That'd be a beautifully poetically justified, whatever the hell you want to call it, end to the trilogy. It'd be intriguing as well, because we've never seen Tarantino actually do a trilogy, so just to see him maybe end with a trilogy. But I wouldn't want to see him ending. I'm contradicting myself here again. I'd like to see him do a Star Trek movie. I'm well on board for it. I really loved Star Trek growing up. I was a big fan of Generations, the Next Generation I should say. I like Generations as well. That was a movie in the early 90s. Yeah. So I'm all on board for him doing this R-rated movie, but I do not want, I said it to you, Stephen, before we came on, I don't want the guy retiring, period. No. I understand why he's choosing this 10 movie plan and then getting out with a bang, because he feels like there's a level a director gets to them, they get to a certain age, they start dipping down and losing their ability to create interesting and vibrant stories. But he's not at that level yet. He's still on an upward trajectory for me. He's not had a bad movie. He doesn't show any signs of slowing down. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is getting 9-minute standing ovations at Cannes Film Festival. By all accounts, an incredible movie. I've seen some of the early responses. It's looking very positive. I don't want to see him retiring, period. So I want to see him do Star Trek, Kill Bill 3, and a whole host, plethora, if you like, of new, interesting, original ideas. So I hope he backtracks completely. I don't think he'll retire anyway. I think it's a lot of crap.
Listen, he's a very creative person, John. He's involved in directing, writing, producing.
I'd like to see him do theatre as well, though, what he says. I'd like to see him go off and do Broadway, maybe West End musicals, theatre, not musicals, but theatre.
You can't tell me, that once he does that 10th film, that his creativity is going to, lie dormant. It's something that's within him, and maybe 4 or 5 years after this 10th film, you can't tell me that something will not inspire him, that he wants to make another film. He's not going to do it. I don't think he's that type of person. I don't know him, but I grew up with his films since Reservoir Dogs, and ever since then, everything that he's done. In fact, when you look at it, Kill Bill is the only one that he's made a sequel to. Everything else has been original, so I don't believe for a minute the man is going to stop at 10.
No, Stephen, you actually made, final thing I'll say, you made a great remark before we come on as well.
Yeah.
Very much akin to like a Christopher Nolan or a Daniel Day-Lewis, in that he doesn't really pressurise himself by making annual or biannual releases. He takes nice breaks, prolonged breaks in between his storytelling and his different movies, 3, 4, 5 years. So I don't think he'll step down. I think he'll continue making movies. I think it's all just free publicity just now for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I hope I'm wrong. Yeah. I hope he does go off and do theatre and then comes back, because I'm happy to watch both either way, as long as it comes to Glasgow, and I doubt it will, so I take that back right away. Stay in directing movies, Quentin.
Anyway, John, we'll move on to the next article. This is in regards to Endgame finally beating Avatar's box office. The Russo brothers have sent James Cameron a little message, just a very nice message. It says, James Cameron, you're a monumental reason why we fell in love with film in the first place. Joe and Anthony wrote in a note, thank you for always inspiring us and opening the world's eyes to what is possible. We can't wait to see where you take us next. And just before I let you in, John...
he's taking us to Pandora.
Yeah, exactly. Again. And James Cameron actually retorted with a little message and a nice little graphic, John, on Twitter, and it's actually on Avatar's official Twitter account, where it just says, I don't know if I can pronounce that, well, Nagat. Oh, it's come off, John. You might have to actually come up with that graphic if you can maybe translate
we'll fire that graphic up, Stephen. Yeah, but it's very, very cool. It's obviously Navi speak.
Yeah, Nagate Kamiye, I think it is. I see you, Marvel. Congratulations to Avengers Endgame on becoming the new box office king, Jim Cameron. So
I love the fact that he calls himself Jim, first and foremost. That just seems to be something that people call James do.
Yeah.
But Stephen, it's very nice. We've seen this before. I actually remember discussing this a while back. This is like a gentlemanly sort of an unwritten gentleman agreement, if you like.
I didn't know anything about this, John, until you actually flagged up
it's something to do.
It goes way back.
Yeah, it's something directors, I think, in general do. Maybe producers and studios do it as well, but I know for a fact directors do it. It's like an unwritten rule. When one of the movies passes the other, they offer some nice little platitudes to each other via social media or via handwritten notes in some cases. Obviously, getting back to the 70s and the 60s and the 80s, we didn't have social media. But it's been done time and again. We've seen James Cameron doing it to Kevin Feige.
Yeah.
When the Avengers movie, I think it was perhaps Infinity War, overtook Titanic. And
I think it was only last month or 2 months ago. I think it was when Endgame.
Oh, it was Endgame. You're right. Yeah, Titanic. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Stephen.
A nice little graphic. Yeah.
Yeah, a nice little graphic again of it also sinking the Titanic. We've seen it with Star Wars. Star Wars and Jaws.
Yeah.
We've seen it with E.T. and Star Wars. Time and again, it's a nice little thing to do. I like it. It just shows you the camaraderie and the sort of brotherhood they have.
Yeah,
the directors,
it shows that the directors aren't taking it as serious as some fans are. You know, we talked about this on Heroes the other day, John, where a lot of the Avatar fans are getting a little bit bitchy on social media in regards to, you know, toppling. They're going on about what was it?
Avatar 2.
Yeah, Avatar 2 came out, and then we take inflation into account and all this crap. Listen, it's number one. I think it will be number one for a very long time now. It's going to take something very special to top that. And I'm sure if we were doing this show back in 2009, we would have been saying the same about Avatar as well, John.
Absolutely, Stephen. It was an incredible experience, Avatar. It was wonderful in 3D. It was just momentous. It sparked off a whole renaissance
as well, John.
Yeah, it sparked off a renaissance for 3D, Stephen, that really lasted a number of years. It was a beautifully crafted movie. Not the most original movie in the world.
Storytelling,
no, but in terms of acting and visuals and just groundbreaking technology, that's what James Cameron's renowned for. I'm a big James Cameron fan, Stephen. Joking aside, I've been having some digs at Avatar over the last few months, but big fan of James Cameron. I really enjoyed Titanic back in the day. I was really into my boats when I was that age. So that was an incredible experience to be whisked back to then and witness that. Beautiful, even if the romantic element was a little bit forced and cheesy. Terminator as well. What can you say about Terminator? One of the all-time great franchises. Some would say it's sporadic in its goodness, but I love it in the main.
First two films.
I love the third one as well.
You know, he only directed 2 Terminator films, and both of them
were fantastic.
Yeah.
So I've got no hatred against James Cameron. I hope he comes back with another great movie of his own. I says it the other day, Stephen, yesterday in actual fact, I'm losing my marbles, when we also done Heroes, that I think Avatar 2 is more likely to flop than actually trump Endgame. I don't think it will flop, that's not what I'm saying. I think in the grand scheme of things, the likelihood, parts of probabilities, I think it's more likely to flop. I think it will be a momentous success with Disney, but just getting that these little fans, these little bitches whining about Avatar 2, just you wait. I don't think we'll have to wait that long. I think it's only going to be maybe a year and a half, and then Disney will re-release Avatar in a special wide release for the upcoming Avatar 2 release to get everybody else re-immersed back in the world of Pandora. And then it'll probably super exceed Endgame again at the box office and regain its number one spot. But all in all, very cool seeing the brotherhood between these two great directors and one standalone great director, keeping this nice little, how would I put it, chain of events going with it, and obviously offer their thanks, this tradition going. So very nice to see. Nice to see it's not so
serious.
There's a word I was looking for, but I can't be asked even thinking about it at the moment. I'm going to move on. I'm so warm just now, Stephen.
Isn't it? What's the amazing heat we're having here in Scotland. But John, we'll move on to our next article. This is Matt Groening, Simpsons creator. He's been talking to someone, I don't know who it is. I think it was Comic-Con actually. He revealed this news that the Simpsons movie sequel is no doubt going to be getting made. It will happen under Disney. As we know, the 2007 movie, the original movie, which was released from 20th Century Fox, cost over $500 million worldwide. Well, I can, John, because it was much anticipated. It was a long-awaited film to come out from the studio. At that point, Simpsons had been on our screens for the best part of, now my math's a little 20 years at that point, So 2007, is that right?
20 years.
I'm telling you, my maths is terrible. But so it was long awaited, and I can understand why it grossed what it did, $527 million worldwide to be exact. As far as the film went, though, John, I've only watched it once. I'm a massive Simpsons fan, and I only watched the movie once when it was out in the theatres.
And
it was something like a kind of big glass thing came over Springfield. And I think Lisa and her boyfriend were separated by the glass.
I recall.
As I recall. It was I've said this time and time again. I said it in some of my movie reviews in regards to 30-minute sitcoms, which we regard Simpsons as. I think it's the longest running US sitcom now, over 30 years. I've said this. I said it when I think you did Brent the movie review. I did Alpha Papa one, the Alan Partridge one. You're always concerned when you take a 30-minute sitcom and try and spread that out over maybe an hour and a half, because the jokes have got to come, every 5-10 seconds.
Can the gimmick last?
And it's very difficult to do. I felt that's where the Simpsons movie struggled. Matt Groening actually does reveal, goes further into details, the problems with making that movie was that they didn't hire a second team to, write and produce that film, that project, because they were still making the television series at the same time. So
concurrently.
I can imagine the concentration and the time factor as well, and trying to keep that high level quality television show running, as well as try to create this high level Simpsons movie, simultaneously. Would have been a big ask for the writers and obviously the animators at the time. So what's your feelings on this, John? What's your memories of the Simpsons movie from 2007?
Well, as I did say, Stephen, until you reminded me with the obviously glass orb going over Springfield, I actually didn't recall it. It left my memory. It's 12 years ago. It's not
memorable at all.
Yeah, it's 12 years ago. But I've not really watched The Simpsons regularly for a number of years now, Stephen. Fell away from it. I used to be an avid viewer every single day in life. It would be on in some form, a rerun or a new episode.
It's always dinner time, wasn't it?
Yeah, I watched it again and again and again. I was absolutely obsessed with it. Loved Mr. Burns and obviously Smithers and things like that.
And Apu,
who is sadly no longer with us because of political correctness. What an absolute nonsense that is. It's a sitcom, animated cartoon TV show about characters that don't exist. What's to be offended about in there? But somebody always finds something to be offended about. So Apu is no more. But as I did say, Steve, fell away from it. Would I be bothered about this? Would it excite me? Probably not. Purely because, as I did say, I'm not an avid viewer anymore. If it was an intriguing plotline though, perhaps they did something different, maybe mix universes, brought Futurama in or something, getting a similar writers, maybe done something like that. Perhaps it would draw me in if it was a unique story point. He's absolutely right though, groaning what he says about Disney wanting to get their money back in some way. They will be mining all of these various different franchises to the absolute maximum. What was the number they spent by purchasing or acquiring Fox? It was some ridiculous sum. So they will be looking to get their money back in any way, shape or form, and they absolutely will see a Simpsons movie at some point. I'm stunned though that it grossed so much back in the day. $27 million is crazy for 2007. Do you think with Avatar?
Simpsons was a big deal back in 2007.
I mean, Avatar was 2009. We'd never seen a movie explode like that. Prior to that, we see movies crossing the $1 billion mark nearly every year, pretty multiple times a year for Marvel. But still, that's a rare phenomenon even now. Back then, it was even rarer. So that is incredible performance. I'm actually surprised we didn't see any after it in the ensuing years. But yeah, Stephen.
And to be fair, John, The Simpsons wasn't the first franchise to do this. SpongeBob SquarePants did it. Took that same.
You reviewed it, Stephen.
That same element of a 30-minute,
probably
a 20-minute actually. SpongeBob was, and take those characters and put them into this kind of road movie type scenario. But it worked because of the writing and obviously. Putting all their time and their team into making sure they got the best they could out of that film. But to be fair to Matt Groening, he does admit that was their downfall. Yeah,
the no B writing team, and obviously you can only stretch people so far in terms of the voice actors. You're absolutely right about that as well, Stephen. Never had a chance to get into that. The 20 to 30 minute sort of a short form, try to elongate that into a long form. For movies, we spoke about that with Thomas the Tank Engine, how it's something that's very difficult to do. You really have to have a wacky or zany idea and put that to the big screen and then have people flocking in and holding their attention. I thought Alpha Papa, was it, the Partridge one? I thought that was pretty damn good. I thought you again utilised an interesting storyline with the robbery, or the holding up the radio with one of the crazed ex-employees.
It was new writers that came in as well. I think it was the guys that did Mid-Morning Matters. It wasn't the original writers, so it had that freshness about it, so that's why it worked.
And again, they utilised an interesting idea and storyline, different to what you'd see in the actual TV show, and that's how they got into the big screen. It worked so well.
Brent suffered, I think, because the character had closure in The Office, as we know, in 2004, John, and I think everybody was, very satisfied with how that concluded. So taking that character and putting him in another situation, I think rubbed a lot of people up the wrong way.
He did try.
Steve Merchant wasn't involved either, so I think perhaps maybe the writing suffered a little as well.
We've seen him start to make a renaissance, a comeback of his own though, Ricky Gervais with that previous, I think it's Afterlife or something. Yeah, very funny TV show. So he's starting to regain himself. Obviously absent from Stephen Merchant. Yeah. But I think he tried to utilise a different thing with the musical aspect and touring, but it never quite hit off. It was a funny movie, I still enjoyed it, but it's a very hard thing to balance. So I don't think I'd want to see it in conclusion. I went off on a massive tangent.
But we'll move on anyway, John, to our final article. I think it's going to be a final one, depending on time. This comes in from Variety, and it's in regards to Ridley Scott, Matt Damon and Ben Affleck are teaming up to do a film called The Last Duel. Now this movie is, I think it was set up by Fox ages ago, and obviously with the transition to Disney, it's kind of up in the air at the moment, so we're not really sure if this film's going to get made at the time, but the pick is set in 14th century France and follows a man who goes to war and returns to discover a friend of his has raped his wife. No one will believe the woman, and the soldier appears to the King of France and says he wants to fight a duel to the death to decide the man's fate, becoming the last legally sanctioned duel in France. How does this grab you, John?
Sounds very intriguing indeed, Stephen. It looks like an interesting story, as I just spoke about in the previous topic. Utilising an interesting story and putting it to big screen. This is exactly what I'd like to see. At the time, the period, just the people he's getting involved. Obviously, we've got Ridley Scott. They're getting involved, I should say, Fox, now Disney, if they're going to take it on. Why would you not? Ridley Scott apparently coming in to direct, Matt Damon and Ben Affleck starring together. And I think Matt's also co-writing it with, what's her name? I can't see her name. It doesn't matter. He's co-writing it with an Oscar-winning writer anyway, whose name eludes me at the moment. I can't see it in the article. Nicole Holofcener. But when you're utilising these great people come together, then why would you not want to keep this, and why would you not want to put this to the big screen? It sounds very intriguing. It's a great crew and cast assembling here. I can't wait to see further news about this. Hopefully it happens. I've not got much more than that.
Listen, I was very interested to see obviously Matt Damon and Ben Affleck reuniting again, because obviously they've done several projects, which I can't believe it's been since 1997 they started with, I think it was Good Will Hunting, which they won an Academy Award, I'm sure. But it's intriguing because of who's involved, John. I can't see Disney not picking this up, to be honest with you. I think the storyline is there to be made. You've got the award-winning director who wants to obviously take this as his next directing job as well. So I'm all for it. I'll keep my eyes peeled for this one, because when you told me about it, I was in there right away Googling it, trying to find as much information as I could. There's very little at the moment, because obviously they don't know if Disney's going to pick it up or not.
Yeah, Stephen, Nicole Holofcener actually wrote Can You Ever Forgive Me, also the Richard E. Grant and Melissa McCarthy movie. So that was a movie I really enjoyed. So it's intriguing, as I did say, that they're getting people like this involved. Co-writing it with Matt Damon. It's the first time Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, I believe, have starred together since The Good Will Hunting. So it's all intriguing. Hopefully Disney will take it on, and we'll see this carrying a pace, and we'll get more information about it. Because the story, right up my street. I love a period piece. And just the concept of this jilted guy coming back, a revenge tale and a duel. It's all very exciting indeed.
Certainly is. But listen, that just brings us to the end of this week's movie news. We'd just like to thank you once again for joining us, and we will be back again tomorrow with the blog rundown.